Hey guys, I'm not very used to making vlogs, so I apologise if this sounds or looks a bit awkward, but I was suggested by a few friends that I should make regular videos, or I'll try and make them regular. Whether I can or not, I don't know, but I got some good suggestions actually about having updates and information about my novel that I've released that's now on print. It could be bought on Amazon by paperback or ebook. I would like to do audio as well, but it's just going to be a bit challenging trying to find a cast, because I don't want to make the average normal audio book you usually listen to where it's just one man or woman just reading over the whole book. I would like to make it more theatrical, so it's to actually be a narrator and some action in it and other bits and pieces. So I would like to do that, but I would struggle to find the cast to do that. So I may do that in future. I really do want to do some sort of audio book, but I'll see. But at the moment, what I thought I would do is talk about, as I said, my novel. It's called Anuanna, and if I had to split it up into two books now, because it was so big. The original book is actually 800 pages, about 800, just over 800 pages long. So I had to split it in two books. You can see they're quite large. That's how big one book would be. So yeah, a little bit, just a tad big. So yeah, so I split it into two. This is part one, that's part two. Basically the main character is Anne, and that's her guide Sonny. I don't know if this can be seen on camera or not, but as you can probably tell, here you can see she's got a staff, and here's a claw with one of the beasts in the story that she faces. It's basically about, as I've written in the back on both books, it's basically about Anne, who's the protagonist. She goes through her whole life thinking she's normal like everyone else, until she suddenly finds out that she's not. She's actually part of a dying race. The race is actually called the Altar race, and not only did she find out she's one of the last to, alive, she finds out she's a witch and her magical powers has recently kicked in. She's in her, she's mid-20s, pushing her late 20s, and that's when she finds out she's an altar, a witch, and she finds out a lot more. She also finds out there's this whole other magical world, and she meets other witches, wizards. She has, I don't want to give too much away, but she has difficulties in, at first, adjusting to what's going on. She actually starts thinking, am I going mad and everything else. Then when she realises she's not, she quickly gets into it actually. She quickly adapts and just accepts that she is who she is. But difficulties arrive in all aspects of her life. Finding out she's this magical person, dying race, the enemies she encounters, the other magical people, and it's not just creatures, there are creatures involved, and this whole new city, everything else. Also she struggles a bit in her love life. So yeah, there's a few, it actually gets into detail in quite a few, actually about just about everything in her life, to her love life, her personal life, her friendships, her work life, her now new magical life. It gets into detail about everything. I have had the book proofread by and I've had a few reviewers look at it. So far, I've got nothing, which I'm very flattered and honoured that I haven't actually got anything negative back. I've just got good positive feedback, which is brilliant, which is great. Although, even though this isn't everyone's cup of tea, it's a fantasy romance novel, and if that's your kind of thing and you like reading, well, you may enjoy it. So, so as I said, it was so big. I split it. As I said, it's so big. I split it into two, so it's a pretty big read. But yeah, I can't really say much else about the book without giving too much away. So I don't really want to talk too much about what the book's. I don't really want to talk much more about what is in the book because, like I said, I don't want to give too much away. But what I could mention is what inspired me to write it. Well, some people may know that my main job is acting, and basically sometimes I write like little scripts or even feature films for myself. And Anuanna was originally a film script, which I wrote for Anne for me to play, and I actually based a lot of Anne on myself, and a lot of her personality and her past life is actually based on my own. So when I was writing it, so I realised that this script was so big, there was no way I could fund something at that height. So I decided to turn it into a book. Oh, but I will say actually, it's in every book. There is a warning saying that this book is for the more mature audience. I said I've put at least, yes, be at least a minimum of the age of 17 or older, just simply because there's swearing, bad language, bad behaviour, and there's sexual content in there as well. So it is more an adult book. I have actually had some comments that it's like Harry Potter but for adults. Harry Potter was not my inspiration at all. I didn't think about it once while writing this, so it's not inspired by it. But I did keep Harry Potter in mind in a way as to avoid it as much as possible, because I don't want my book's completely different. It was my own idea, and as I was writing it, it just ended up sounding, well, some people sounding like Harry Potter. So I kept Harry Potter in mind. I haven't seen or read the books in years. So, but from what I can remember, I've kept the book away from it as much as I could. And there was a couple of comments I have received a couple of comments saying that I've done that successfully, which is good, and I hope I did. But I could actually say how I came up with the idea. I've already discussed that I originally made it for a film project for myself, but I made it a fantasy romance because usually I write horrors, thrillers, things like that. I'm a big horror fan, but I was getting a bit bored of just writing horrors, and I wanted to do something different and show that I can do more than just being horror things. And so I thought, what's the genre that's as far from horror as I can get? So I naturally thought romance. Then I thought, well, I'm not a big fan of just pure romance. I'm not into that sort of thing. I do like romance, but if it's just pure romance, nothing but romance, that bores me a little bit. But I do like fantasy. Romance and fantasy, for me personally, that's my cup of tea. So I thought, well, I'll do that then. Then I thought, when I was thinking about the fantasy route, straight away I thought, well, witches, werewolves, vampires, things like that. And I thought, well, if I want to be a character in a film, what would I like to be? And I ended up making Anne a witch. because my other options that I could think of was either witch, vampire and werewolf. And even though I also love vampires and werewolves and things like that, I didn't want to make another romance about vampires because of Twilight, things like that, or another one about werewolves because you have Underworld. So films like that have already been done. And even though witches have been done for things like Harry Potter, for example, and there's lots of other examples, but I personally haven't seen one about witches and romance. The vampires and werewolves have been done, but I haven't seen anything about witches. So I thought I'll stick to the path of the witch. Then I thought, well, if it's a romance, Anne's going to need someone to fall in love with. So then, again, I'm trying not to give too much away about the book, but someone comes into her life, and someone was already in her life. So there's a bit of a triangle going on. A love triangle. And, well, if you want to know what happens, then you kind of have to read the book. I'm not going to give away what happens and everything else, but yeah. So that's basically the gist of Anuanna, and a little bit about what it's about and how it came along. Thank you to everyone who suggested that I do that. I did have a few people come to me, actually a couple personally. One of my friends, thank you Ryan, suggested that I do a Q&A session video. I'm not too sure how that would go down, if anyone would be interested really. I don't think many people would want to. But if anyone is interested in asking me questions and you want me to answer, I'm more than happy to do it. So if you do want to do that, let me know. And maybe if I get enough questions, maybe I'll do a Q&A video. But as I said, I'll see how many questions we get. And if it's enough to make a whole video, then I'll make a Q&A video. But yeah, I think I'm going to end the video here. But as I said, you can find both books on Amazon as paperback, just like this, ebook, and as I said, I'm thinking about doing an audio. I really want to do one, I really do, but it's getting the cast together and getting the funds, so I don't think I'll be able to raise enough funds to pay for a whole cast to do that. I don't know where I'm going to go with that. Is to do a script this large, it would cost a bit. So I'll see. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know where I'm going to go with that. I'd either have to get volunteers, or someone did suggest that maybe I start up a funding page, see if I can raise some money to pay for voice actors, things like that, which I'm definitely looking at and I'm considering. But I'll just have to see where that goes. But yeah, if anyone's interested, please do feel to buy my book and give it a go. I'll quickly add that I have finished writing the second book actually. It's at the moment being proofread and looked over, so hopefully that won't take too long. It may be going over maybe a couple months or so at least. So that's happening. Yeah, so when that's done, hopefully I'll have Anuanna 2 out. When, again, I cannot say. It takes a long time to write, and I'd have to go over it myself again as well. Redo the edits and corrections and everything else. That's basically it for now. So yeah, if you've watched my video, thank you for watching. Bye!